Hello, and welcome to Euromonitor International's podcast on the top emerging trends for the Indian consumer food service industry in 2022. I'm Ritushi Chakraborty from the marketing and communications teams here at Euromonitor. Today, we'll be discussing the key trends affecting the Indian restaurants and food service industry and how they can remain afloat amidst the dynamic COVID rules and regulations in India. We will be speaking with Shreya Sharma, our food and nutrition lead here in India. Hi Shreya, how have you been? Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi Ritu, the pleasure is mine. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, yeah, but however, we are again amidst another COVID wave and reinstated restrictions. I'm sure for the food industry, it's worse than it's for me and you. They have suffered enough, but how is it treating you?
Absolutely, Ritu. It's not pleasant, so as to say. But here we are again, and somehow it's very interesting to note how resilient the food industry has been through this, even when the restrictions and rules and regulations were imposed. And that's just one of the things I want to speak about today.
That is unfortunately the truth. They've had a very hard few years, and when we talk about even 2021, the consumer food service industry was just recovering from the first wave of COVID in India, and the second wave hit again and impacted the industry in so many ways. How do you think the second wave of COVID-19 actually changed the course of how the business, operates, how the food service business operates in India?
So you're absolutely right there. The food industry was just recovering in 2021 when the second wave of COVID hit in the first half of the year. But somehow the second wave of COVID-19 has been different from the first one in many aspects. First of all, it gave the opportunity to the key market players to look back and analyze their growth patterns and formulate a growth strategy looking at what works for them. For example, there has been a major rebalancing in the market when it comes to the outlet counts. The chained operators closed their unprofitable outlets and opened new ones at new locations. However, unlike 2020, there was no significant closure of restaurants. Following the massive closure of restaurants in 2020, the chain restaurants saw this gap in the market and took this opportunity to expand their presence in the market. To just give a few examples, Starbucks increased their outlet count by 28%, KFC increased by 53%, and even the newer chains like Burger King expanded into Tier 2 and Tier 3 markets by increasing the outlet counts by 48%. Another thing to note has been the consumer behavior. The consumer also adapted as per the rules and regulations imposed on the restaurants, which led to a higher transaction value. Now, the families and large groups were more comfortable stepping out of the house, but there was people were not stepping out from the offices or to the cafes. They were purchasing big ticket items that led to higher transaction value, but at the same time, lower number of transactions. Another interesting shift which was accelerated by the pandemic was the growth of chain restaurants over the independent ones. In 2021, chain restaurants grew at 11% over the independent ones, which grew just at 9%. The chain restaurants benefited for a number of reasons like strong market presence, good brand value, customer loyalty. They had established delivery services, and also the HR policies helped them remain relevant in the market. Another points like loyalty points, cashback offers and discounts was just add-ons to attract more customers. Now, one noteworthy phenomenon that happened in 2021 was the growth of organized sector over unorganized one. By unorganized sector, I mean the roadside vendors, dhabas, food carts, and street stalls that are around our houses. So when the second wave hit, people feared going out because of the risk of contracting infection, and they started prioritizing hygiene over price, which led to the massive shift towards the organized sector.
Wow, that is truly a paradigm shift considering the culture in India and how much we like our street food and stalls, etc. This has been a completely different ballgame altogether for the industry. I'm sure everyone in that context wants to know that in 2022, given that the third wave is upon us now, how can the business be COVID proof?
So, the consumer food service industry absolutely has to learn from the past trends and leverage these learnings in order to be COVID proof. The restaurants need to be agile and they quickly should adapt to the dynamic COVID led scenarios. A strong delivery capability is the need of the hour. Since the lockdown is already in place in so many cities, the only option available to the customers to order food is through online channels. And the restaurants should start working either with aggregators like Zomato and Swiggy, or they should build their own delivery capability for a contactless delivery. Now, as we know in Tier 1 markets, these capabilities have been brought up to speed, but Tier 2 and Tier 3 markets are still lagging. With increase in online penetration and increasing market demands, Tier 2 and Tier 3 markets are a huge potential areas where the companies can tap into. Second learning has been from previous years is to keep the business ongoing. The restaurants need two things. One is manpower, other is cash liquidity. So in order to maintain their manpower, they should retain their employees even through the COVID waves. Employees like servers and guards, so that they don't suffer from manpower crunch once the wave passes. To maintain the cash liquidity, they can consider switching to other formats like cloud kitchens, which will require less operating cost and they have better profit margins, especially in the times when customers are ordering food from the comfort of their homes. The focus area for the restaurants has to shift from the quality of food not only in terms of taste but hygiene standards as well. Now, to give that wow factor to the customers, they have to think of ways to indulge them in a experiential dining through their food packaging, through the stories they tell with their food, or other add-ons like cutlery. They have to work on the entire universe that surrounds the food and not only just the taste of the food.
This makes so much sense for the business, for trying to stay relevant, because now people are not looking at only the taste of the food. They're looking for an experience because we're not stepping out so much. And everyone's been at home for the past 2 years. This truly is going to be revolutionary for the industry. Uh, but however, to stay relevant through the third wave of COVID, how can the restaurants plan on getting their customers back, increase footfall, once the wave passes? How do they become future ready?
Yes, so once the third wave passes, bringing customers back to a restaurant is really going to be difficult. That's for two reasons. A, the delivery capabilities and the delivery network would have strengthened more by then. And B, the demand from customers would have risen because they would have gotten used to the convenience of ordering food online. For that, restaurants would really have to provide immersive experiences that cannot be duplicated at home. Experiences like they can try with farm to table models, they can have live kitchens, teppanyaki grills. The Indian palate is acquiring taste of so many cuisines like Vietnamese, South African, Japanese, and Korean that can be tapped into. The restaurants can hold events like mixers and wine tasting. They can have educational classes like cocktail recipes or make your own sushi. One noteworthy point here is the restaurants have so many capabilities that they can give the customers some take home tips and tricks so that the customers can remember them by. They also have to ensure the safety and convenience of customers. For this, there are so many innovations in the market. There is online table reservation system wherein the customers can book their tables through apps, which makes it more safer and convenient for them. Then there are touchscreen POS that are installed in malls and airports. This is one common touchscreen where you can order and pay at any restaurants of your choice within the premises. There are also self-order kiosks or handheld POS at restaurants. This minimizes the human intervention during ordering and paying. One important sector that is totally untapped in India is the drive-in format. So the restaurants can try out this format, especially considering the present conditions where people prefer contactless payment and delivery. So that is one important market the restaurants can tap into.
Well, it looks like the business will have to make a lot of proactive efforts to pull the customers and provide an experience, have like high quality food, as well as making them feel safe while dining, right? But I hope the insights that you've provided today is going to be very helpful for the listeners. I'm sure it's going to be helpful for the listeners. But thank you so much, Shreya, for this very insightful session.
Thank you for having me, Ritu. I hope things get better soon and we can catch outside for a coffee.
I would love to do that. Wouldn't that be the dream? However, for me, that's all today. We will be back soon with a new podcast discussing interesting insights about India. So do stay tuned in. You can always connect with us on our social channels and visit Euromonitor.com to learn about various insights from across the globe. Till then, I'm Ritushri signing off, wishing everyone a very happy New Year. Bye.